go.
All right. Hey everybody, welcome to the Team Powerhouse Show, live with you every Tuesday night. You're probably saying to yourself, that's not Eric Vasquez. You're right, it's not Eric Vasquez. Eric Vasquez unfortunately can't be here this evening because again, he's on the road, clients running around in this crazy, exciting market. But tonight, live with you, we have a very special guest who's been on the show before. He's a repeat offender. He's somebody we're going to continue to bring on the show because he's very smart. He's very knowledgeable in all facets of water, plumbing, and so much more. Please feel free to ask questions. Mr. Garret Lee from High Rock Water Mechanical. Thank you so much for being here today.
Absolutely, I'm happy to be here.
You're awesome. So tonight we're going to talk about many things. Again, if you have questions, do not hesitate to ask. As you know, we're on every social media platform you can want us to be on. And if there's something we're not on, let us know, and we'll be there as well. Please interact with us, ask questions, and if you miss this show and you catch it on the replay, you'll know how to get a hold of Garret Lee because his number will be up on the screen and you can call him because he's amazing like that.
Appreciate it.
Is that fair?
Yep.
All right, Mr. Garret Lee, High Rock Water Mechanical Services. So, what issues are we seeing due to the rain today?
The rain we got was an extraordinarily abnormal amount. Some areas I heard got up to 16, 17 inches of rainfall. I mean, it's unheard of, nonetheless, what we've gotten throughout the last year. Obviously, there's a lot of flooding all over. I mean, certain areas are almost impossible to drive through. Roads closed everywhere. I mean, I know a couple houses that are being demolished. I know a couple houses that I did work at are literally fell to the ground at this point.
It's absolute pandemonium.
Right.
It's pandemonium. We are seeing more water here in Connecticut and this country than we've seen in years and years and years. It might be the top 2 or 3 ever in the history.
Yep.
And you need to know so much about how to handle, prepare, and understand about water you're drinking and using on a daily basis. So why are the water tables so high?
The amount of rain we've gotten is more than it was more than we saw in decades prior to this rainstorm.
Yes.
For probably, I'd say December to March, it was an unheard of amount of rain and people were having constant issues. People that never had issues with water in their homes were having issues.
Facts. Absolute facts.
I've had countless customers that have lived in their house 30 plus years, never seen a drop of water in their basement, and now they're having issues.
We have properties we're trying to sell as realtors that never saw water before, and dealing with it up until the very last minute. At a walkthrough of a house, all of a sudden there's water in the basement. And of course, buyers get frantic when they see water and know about water because water is the all is be all kind of a thing as far as concerns go.
Right.
But it can be corrected. It can be facilitated in a way, we're going to talk about it in a little bit, but how to protect your home from water. So what can be affected from high water tables?
So drinking water is the big concern aside from the flooding aspect of damage.
Good point. And people don't think about that as often.
So the drinking water side of it, similar to when, say on city water, they flush the hydrants.
Yes.
I get a warning every time they're going to flush the hydrants because your water very well may be discolored in the process or afterwards. Same thing with city water when we get all this flooding is the water, you're dealing with a lot of different types of contamination that could happen. The water treatment plants are, we'll say, working overtime. Pipes are old, they're trying to treat it. The water is treated from the town, but now, again, if they're working harder, they're treating different things. Things become diluted. You can get a high dosage of chlorine depending on what they're treating it with. The water could be dirty just from being naturally stirred up. It's just something that you have to look out for on both well and city water. The well water side of things, the high water tables, is causing a lot of houses. We're actually seeing almost a 50% increase in contaminations in wells, to the point where at least once a week I'm getting an email or I'm getting my results from my lab saying that there's either coliform bacteria or E. coli bacteria.
Which, again, can be corrected.
Absolutely.
So not to fear, but it's all about educating yourself as much as possible. So, should that happen, chloroforms or...
Coliform. We're not trying to have anyone pass out.
Coliforms or
E. coli.
E. coli, right? If you have that in your water, what do we fix? How do we fix that?
So the contamination could be fixed one of two ways, or mainly one of two ways. The most simplistic industry standards are going to be chlorinating the well or installing an ultraviolet light. If your wellhead is buried, we do recommend to raise your wellhead up above grade.
12 inches?
6 inches.
6 inches.
6 inches above
Okay.
grade is code.
Okay.
Minimum 6 inches. Having a below the surface well, you're much more prone to contamination. It's not to say that you are, and it's not to scare anybody, but it's a code for a reason. The code's been around since the 70s. Obviously, hundreds upon thousands of people have buried wells. People still have buried oil tanks. You're kind of grandfathered in to an extent, but it is strongly advised for anybody to raise their wellhead above grade to try to help prevent that contamination
Absolutely.
factor.
And we run across that when we go to have buyers buying homes or selling homes, and we see the wellhead, maybe it's been bumped, pushed, or dirt or things have grown up and around it. You want to definitely clean that area out. You want to make sure that wellhead is above the 6 inches, even the 12 inches area where they be best.
And having the proper cap on it is very important.
And it's crazy not having the proper cap on a wellhead.
Yeah, unfortunately, there's a lot of companies out there that it's kind of sight unseen. They see the well, they know the well's there, and they don't address it on the spot. On home inspections, we see it a lot where, it's just that one thing that if a actual well company's there, the inspector's doing so much, he may see the well and acknowledge the well, but may not pay attention to if the cap is up to code.
Right.
So that's one important thing that, we really have to be aware of, that the cap is a watertight gasketed cap.
We talked briefly about the different areas in Connecticut that have been affected. So like some of the areas we saw Oxford, Southbury, throughout the whole state. Fairfield County, there's some areas in towns over there.
The greater, the valley area for sure, the Naugatuck Valley area, and a little bit further on, like the Monroe area, Southbury, like all surrounding that area, it was bad. There were, I know a lot of businesses that are at a major loss.
We all see on Facebook, social media X, what devastation's been going on. And it's very sad because if you own a home and this is happening to you, our hearts go out to you. The good news is hopefully that when you're at the bottom, you'll go back up to the top. Hopefully you have good insurance in your home. And that'll be something we'll have to find out more about, is how the insurance will change, or will they change, or it's just
Right.
a catastrophic event
Because,
that it doesn't count.
Naugatuck, there's no flood zone.
Right.
You can't get flood insurance if you're not in a flood zone.
Right.
So these people that don't have flood insurance because they can't get it.
Well, why would they even get it? Because
Exactly.
there's a reason for it.
And
they need
it's,
flood
it,
insurance.
there's less than a mile away from my house, there's 5 houses that are being demoed
Wow.
because it's just the flooding completely disrupted the structure of the foundation.
Hopefully, again, you have good insurance that you didn't. When it comes to just, again, protecting yourself, always want to get good insurance. Protect yourself, right? Make sure you have, again, we'll talk about the resources to help protect your home from a water quality standpoint. And let's go into this question. How often should you check your water quality?
The state recommended is every 5 years, as far as lab testing goes and doing the state recommended test. Because of the water tables right now, honestly, in my personal opinion, I'm telling people every year until further notice.
I would think,
it's-
and I've never done this before in my own house, and even with city water, you should test your water.
Yes, it's not a bad idea. The city water, they make city water specific tests. You could absolutely test the city water. People that are on city water obviously aren't as much a concern because it is being treated from the town. Not that it's ever a bad idea to test for it, but you hope that the municipality is treating it as it should be treated.
Right.
So with all this flooding, obviously people have to watch out and let the water run. Don't just put your glass under it and expect the water to be perfect. Let it run for a minute or two.
Yeah.
It's not going to affect your water bill all that much for letting
Right.
it run a minute or two. Just clear everything out, because things can get stirred up. It could be fine today and dirty tomorrow. I mean, everybody is still actively working right now. Roads are torn up everywhere, so people are going to be excavating. Water lines are obviously in excavation routes. There's going to be disturbances. So
Absolutely, you got to use a little bit of common sense now.
yeah,
Right, and patience, and try to learn from this in a way that helps you protect yourself and your family moving forward.
and your investment
Is-
too, your
investment.
home. I mean, if you lose your home, and I literally can't even imagine. I had some water at one of my properties, and my shop got a little bit of water, but it was
A pain in the tush.
a couple cardboard boxes that I lost, and that
Right.
was annoying.
Right.
Then I literally drive a mile down the street and I see all the havoc it wreaked down there, and I'm just like, well, cardboard boxes, that I don't need those.
Right,
Like those do nothing for me.
Right. Your family heirlooms, if you have anything like that, you want to make sure you have them on top of, again, in a basement where at some point there could be problems. If there's something of importance to you, buy the nice shelving or buy some cheap shelving and put things on shelving. Why keep it on the floor? There's no reason to have any extra possibilities of problems.
Right.
Can the water quality at a reservoir and treatment plant be impacted by flooding?
Yes, absolutely.
And that was a great question, by the way, that Eric Vasquez had,
Yep.
wanted me to ask of you. Eric Vasquez, again, not with us tonight because he's with clients, but very involved in the show and what's happening. He couldn't be here and he's very upset about it. He really wanted to be hanging out here
Yep.
tonight. So it definitely can be affected by flooding.
Any type of disturbance.
Right.
And this is a major disturbance. Anything that's flooded, it's not just affecting residential houses or businesses. It's affecting everything.
It's the environment we live in and around us that's actually being changed. The environment that you don't see underneath the ground is changing all the time.
Yep.
Weather patterns, right?
Yep.
Water conditions, hot, cold, the amount of rain we're having. I mean, the grass today outside your house, I'm just talking to my wife today about the landscaper at the house, and I'm like, what is all this grass that's growing? Like, they just came to cut the grass, and all of a sudden I have these grasses that are really tall. And I'm learning that with all the rain and the heat and the whatever's going on, nutgrass, I've never heard this before, and crabgrass, it's all over the place.
Yep.
So if your land is being affected by it from rain, there's other things below the ground that you just don't see that are happening.
Right, which is why the private well side of things is so important.
Absolutely.
It's people really got to be on testing their water and making sure that everything's okay.
Again, you mentioned once you're testing, and I would say to you that if something is kind of happening like this, and you're going to test it a little more often,
Yep.
be prepared, be knowledgeable in this category. If anybody has any questions out there, please let us know as we're going through this. Should your drinking water be tested after flooding with a well and city? We kind of talked about that a little bit already.
Yes.
The answer is, of course, yes. What can someone do to prevent future or potential contamination to a well?
One of the biggest things is, buried wells, bringing it above grade. Having the knowledge of where your well is important in and of itself.
Yes.
But having it above grade to where you aren't at as much of a risk of contamination is definitely important.
You definitely should know the lay of your property. It's funny you mentioned that. Where is your well? Do you know where your well is? When was the last time you checked your wellhead? Right? You probably planted some kind of tree or bush around it. Who
Right.
knows?
Right.
Or it could be covered up, or it could be below ground at this point.
Yep.
Definitely, if you have a well, find out where your well is and make sure to have it checked out. Now, we haven't talked about Garret Lee's phone number, and I'm sure it's on the screen there, right? Garret Lee, what is your phone number for anybody who has any questions or needs an appointment with you?
The office number is 203-490-6607.
And make sure to use it no matter what the questions are, right? Garrett's the kind of guy who would rather have a conversation, build a relationship with you, than not hear from you until there's a problem.
Right, and I personally give free consultations. I'll send one of the guys that's personally me. If people, want recommendations in terms of they already had the water tested and they need, they have contamination. Again, we're getting emails daily that, people have tested the water because of everything that's going on by themselves. They don't have to have me test it. They test it themselves and they're sending us the report. And, we're going in and seeing what they need as far as water filtration goes. Obviously, home buyers, the inspector may test the water.
Right.
They're coming into the home and now they know that they need a plan for treatment. So, it's definitely a game that,
You want healthy drinking water, and you want to be educated as much as possible.
right.
And again, going into protecting your home. So, what is the purpose of a sump pump?
From what you're trying to do when you're installing a sump pump pit, you're trying to create a path of least resistance. So, say you have a crack in your foundation, water is going to find that crack just naturally.
And every foundation has cracks in it.
Right.
I mean, there's no foundation out there that doesn't have cracks in it. The question is if they're bad cracks versus normal
Right.
cracks. But go ahead.
So obviously foundation cracks, and you could still get water through those. Everything should be fixed in that regard. But the main thing is coming through the slab. If it's coming through the slab, which in most scenarios where people are experiencing floods, it's coming through the slab. That sump pump is now creating the path of least resistance for water to go to. That pump then pushes it out and away from the house. So that's, the purpose of it is to almost create it so it's going to end up here, not here, and then disperse that water off the property.
So the sump pump, a basement system of some sort,
Yep.
is going to protect your home, most importantly. And we talked a little bit before in conversation about a sump pump versus a French drain. It's always been my belief that a sump pump is better than a French drain.
Yes, so a French drain on the outside of the house, and it's not to say that it's not a great idea to do, because you know what, it's a prevention aspect of things.
Sure.
But if we get the rain that we got the other day, that French drain it's only going to be able to do so much. The earth is going to take it just like anything else. You're adding on drainage, but if a drain is full, a drain is full.
Absolutely.
A sump pump, yes, can that thing be running constantly because of the rainfall? Absolutely.
And you want it to run constantly because of the rainfall. When it's running, it's doing its job.
Right.
I mean, that's the whole point of it. That the water is going to come in under your house.
Right.
And as it comes up, your
Yep.
sump pump, your basement system, is going to catch that water,
Yep.
circulate it through the tubes or square, or
The basin, yeah.
the basin, right, into the thing,
The pump itself.
the pump itself, and then shoot it out at far. How far do you shoot out of the house?
Depends on the property.
Right.
I mean, in most situations, people want it 15, 20 feet off the property. It really depends on the lay of the lands.
Of course.
The best way to do it is obviously to get it on a downhill slope.
Right.
You don't want it. At the end of the day, when you get that kind of rainstorm, yes, in a sense, it can be recirculating because the ground can only take so much.
Absolutely.
But the goal is always going to be to have it pitched away from the house. That way, you're sending the water away where it's not going to come right back at the foundation and
Right.
end up in the same spot.
I've actually seen where people had a sun pump system of some sort from back in the day, an old one, and it kind of shoots out the house, and it's literally sitting within a few feet of the foundation.
Right.
I'm like, this is absolute craziness. I mean, it's because that water's going right back down to the spot. You need to push it a little farther than that.
Right. Yeah. Ideally, you'd like to bury the line and
Yeah,
run it as far away from the property as you can.
Absolutely.
Obviously, every scenario is different. Some people recommend infiltrators, but
what's in the military?
essentially, picture a large French drain. It takes up a large surface area. I like to describe them as like mini leaching fields.
Okay.
It gives it. You give yourself quite a bit of drainage with that. The problem is, just like French drains, if it's full, it's full. So, if your sump pump is actively running a lot, because there's a lot of groundwater, so what's that mean for the infiltrator? If there's that much groundwater, that infiltrator is going to be full.
Right.
So, a lot of people will say to run it to that, and it's good in certain scenarios, but to an extent, if the infiltrator's full, you're not really doing anything. So the best way to do it is to push it off the property. Some towns will give you leniencies where you could pipe it to the city drains, like the storm drains out in the road. You could never pump to the sewer, completely against code. So pumping it to the sewer.
We've seen that a couple of times. Walk into a house. Oh, this looks interesting.
Correct. The reason you can't pump it to the sewers because, like a scenario what we just had, people were having sewage backups just from the rain in and of itself because people are pumping water into the sewer systems because their basements got flooded.
Yeah.
It's you have so much flooding, sewers are going to get filled.
Yes.
You pump your sump pump to it, it's just constantly pushing water, pushing water, pushing water. Eventually that sewer is going to get filled just like a French drain, just like anything else, just like any drainage, which is why flooding happens. So, last thing you want is you're trying to protect your basement from flooding from surface water, but now it floods with sewage water because you pumped it to the
Chaos.
sewer system.
You guys need to become educated as much as possible in this sump pump system. Information, knowledge, protecting your home. Everything's about protecting your house. In this business that we work in every day, realtors, homeowners, you need to make sure that if you own a home and it doesn't have a sump pump system, you really want to start preparing your mind to get this involved in your house. Water levels are raising around homes continuously. They're only rising up. Where we were 10 years ago to today
Right.
is completely different. Unless you live at the top of a mountain, you're going to need a sump pump at some point.
Yeah, it's definitely it's an investment that it can pay off in the long run because again we haven't had 16, 17 inches of rain in who knows how long.
And even 17 inches of rain might be too much, by the way, for the sump pump system to even work. But let me just say one more thing. This
Right.
is you remind me of. When it comes to a home, if you do have a sump pump system, you can actually get extra insurance on that sump pump system, right? So what happens if the sump pump system cannot handle the amount of water because it's that crazy amount, the insurance will cover the loss you have.
You're much more likely for
And-
insurance to cover it
Right.
when you have a sump pump
You-
system.
You can add that coverage specific to sump pumps. I know because I have it, and I was very lucky because my insurance agent put it on my property. My sump pump couldn't handle the amount of water I had coming in, I don't know, 6 months ago back in November when it started happening. And yeah, I had water came in my basement, I was in shock. I'm like, I have a sump pump system, and it was the first time that it happened that the system couldn't keep up with the amount of water.
Yeah.
So you definitely want to make sure, prepare yourself. Go invest in your home. Go and call Garret. Find out about sump pumps. What does it cost? Why does it cost this much? What it's going to do for you? How it's going to protect you? What the value added is, long term and short term. Because when you get your water in your basement, you're going to feel stress like you've never felt stress before, right? And you don't want to be a part of that same group of people that got water in their basement because it's not a good feeling. And when it happens, try and get somebody to your house. That's not very easy because they're backed up, locked.
Yeah, I especially when it comes to finished basements, the amount of damage it could do when you talk about mold and just the replacement of sheetrock and 2x4s and the whole nine, or furniture even. I tell everybody that has a finished basement that you really should either have a perimeter set up or at minimum just a singular sump pump.
I think a perimeter is the way to go. You get the whole thing done.
Yep.
These guys know what they're doing when it comes to sump pump systems, how to pitch it correctly, and how to protect your home. I do want to go back to, again, the water contamination stuff, because I know this whole water thing has been kind of crazy.
Yep.
We've seen water like we've never seen before. Rain, the amount of rain we're getting, who knows what the fall is going to bring us? Who knows what this fall and winter is going to be? I mean, I prefer to see snow over rain all day long because I know that it's not as powerful, as fast, it's not.
As long as it's not 16 feet of snow.
Right, exactly, because what happens, snow doesn't, and this happens also, snow, you'll get, let's say, a foot, and then it melts slowly.
Right.
Oh, the ground is taking in that water, right? And people all of a sudden start getting water in their basement a week or two later. And they don't understand why, because it didn't rain, because it's snow melting.
Exactly.
And that's the, however they
Yep.
you calculate that whole thing, but it happens. I saw it happen with clients buying homes. So again, prepare yourself, educate yourself, get as much knowledge about this as possible, and definitely start checking your water in your homes. If you have a well, again, when there's heavy rainstorms or some kind of catastrophe, whether you're in the area or not, have your water checked out. So what is the best way for someone to go and have their water tested? Is it something
Again,
that you do, or?
yes, we absolutely do it. A lot of people, again, are testing it on their own, which is fine. We just want to be able to see the results as long as people are following the proper testing procedures. There's certain ways that you have to test certain types of water. So
And to understand what the readings when they come back, what does it mean?
correct.
First time I saw it, I was like, well, what does this mean?
Right.
It's a little scary looking when you see these graphs of all the waters, like what the minimum amount is versus the maximum amount. And then if you border on that, minimum amount, do you need to fix it or address it? You want to know. And the ultraviolet, by the way, that ultraviolet light is a great system for your home to have. If you have a well, that's a great investment for your home.
Yeah, that way, when this type of scenario happens, even if you didn't have bacteria before, this type of scenario happens, you're not testing the water, you may pick it up. The ultraviolet light is going to prevent that. I mean, we have countless people that install ultraviolet lights as a precautionary because they don't want to have to test it every single year for bacteria.
If I can ask you a range on price ballpark, is that a fair question to ask you?
It's based on demand, the sizing of the house. Ultraviolet lights are rated on gallons per minute.
Okay.
So the smallest one that we install is a 9-gallon per minute bulb.
Okay.
Which, what that's saying is up to 9 gallons per minute, it's going to have the efficiency of removing that bacteria. Anything over 9 gallons per minute, you have the chance of bacteria passing through.
So you mentioned 9 gallons per minute. So is that something where you take a well and you do a pressure test for the water?
No, that would actually just be the house itself. So
itself.
the actual flow running through that bulb at one singular time. So, if you have 3 showers running, or you even have one shower that has a lot of body sprayers and a rain head, that's just upping the gallons per minute. So, let's say one shower is 2 gallons a minute, but then you have one shower that has some body sprayers, so it's 5 gallons a minute. You have that shower going plus 2 more showers because you have guests over. That's going to get up there. Or using an outside faucet, if your outside faucet runs to it.
As you're talking about this stuff, I'm not sure when I look at you, if you see my brain kind of, my eyes go sometimes sideways because I'm imagining all the different things you're talking about. How about when you wash your clothes?
Yep.
You're washing your clothes, is the water contaminated? How does that affect your clothes? Does it change the clothes? Is it kind of bacteria? I mean,
The biggest thing with bacteria, the biggest complaint, I guess we'll say, is stomach issues.
Okay.
Unfortunately, unfortunately, there's no number count on bacteria anymore. So it's not like, okay, you're on a scale of 1 to 10 and your bacteria is a 1. Okay, you're not so bad versus a 10. Yeah, that's crucial to take care of. It's absent or present. So with it being absent or present, everybody is going to react a different way.
That's right.
There used to be a number count on bacteria,
Right.
but nobody wants bacteria at all, so they
Correct.
eliminated the number count.
Okay.
So if it's present, it's present. I've talked to countless people.
I think it's better to be this way here. I kind of like if it's present,
Yeah,
let's deal with
exactly.
it. Or again, let's eliminate the opportunity. And maybe looking into, if you have a well, is having one of these ultraviolet lights actually installed in your home to be protective, be proactive, not reactive. When you're reactive, you're under stress, duress, you're concerned, health issues, and the worries of contaminated water and water issues. So be proactive. Be proactive with a basement system, a sump pump system. Be proactive with making sure your water quality is always good, even when things are sideways in the rest of the town areas or the world. Because you doing this proactive stuff is going to only make your house worth more money, number one, give you and the new buyer peace of mind, right? So there's tremendous value added in being proactive. So protect your home, protect your home, protect your home. Garret Lee, High Rock Water Mechanical, an amazing guy, very knowledgeable. If you guys have, again, any questions, you want to reach out to him, please, because you'll be so much happier you did. Realtors out there, if you don't have somebody you're working with already who's knowledgeable and you need somebody, here's the guy you want to call. So for realtors, homeowners, buyers, sellers, this is the person that's going to help make your life less stressful, and it's going to bring more knowledge to you and help make your property more valuable as well. Good stuff, right?
Yep,
I
absolutely.
mean, when it's real, it's real. It is what it is.
Yeah.
Thane, let's go to the spinning wheel to see who's going to win a new tumbler. Thank you, buddy. You're awesome.
Absolutely.
I love this. It's such great knowledge and information. Tongue-tied today. All right. Who's the lucky winner going to be? Joel Y, thank you so much for being part of our show and watching and being part of our team and the podcast here. Please reach out to us. We can get you a tumbler. The new tumblers are really pretty. A little bit more wide angled. I think they're 30 ounces. Pretty cool stuff. They're laser engraved. Nice stuff here. Garret Lee, thank you so much, buddy, for being awesome.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for the show, everybody. Thank you for watching. Please share this show, this podcast with your friends and family. Anybody out there who's been devastated by what happened recently, we are so sorry. We are here for you. If we can be of any assistance at all, please do not hesitate to reach out. I'll put my phone number out there, 203-671-7062. David Lamel, Team Powerhouse. Our team is here for you always. We appreciate the opportunity to take care of you guys.